Hey everybody, Simon Townsend from IGEL. Just thought I would start the new year off with an interview with one of our new recruits, Ben Ward. Welcome.
Brilliant. Thank you, Simon. It's great to be here.
Oh, great stuff. Thanks for joining me today. Just thought we'd spend 10, 15 minutes talking to you as you join IGEL, I believe, at the start of this week. I know lots of people out there in the EUC space will be very familiar with your name, but why don't we just start, give yourself a little bit of a quick introduction.
Yeah, all right. So I'm Ben Ward. I've been in end user computing for, probably getting on for a decade now. And that's just working for vendors. Before that, I was doing a lot with Citrix-based technology with Microsoft. But yeah, so I'm based in Leeds, which is, as everyone knows, is the cultural capital of the UK. I've got two kids and a wife and a cat. Yeah, and before I joined IGEL, I was working for VMware. I've been at VMware for 6 years, doing some pretty awesome stuff, the whole end user computing portfolio. And before that, probably quite unusually, before that, I was also doing the same thing at Citrix. So
Yes.
that's me in a very short introduction.
Very, very good. And just to confirm what you're going to be doing while you're at IGEL?
So at IGEL, I'm doing something very, very similar to what I was doing at Citrix and VMware. So I'm a systems engineer and I focus on enterprise accounts.
Perfect, perfect. And I don't think we can go any further without talking about your current seating arrangement. Yeah, the chair that you're sat on looks very familiar, and looks. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, well, I still haven't properly explained to my wife. Yeah, so you know what? When the first lockdown hit us in March, I was trying to work out how I was going to start working from home more often. I mean, I work from home anyway, but being an SE, you travel everywhere. But when you can't do that, it's sort of okay. For most of my working life now is going to be sat down somewhere. So I thought to myself, I could either get myself a desk, a proper desk. Then I thought that's really old school. And in EUC, we're trying to reinvent stuff. We're trying to reinvent how people work. So I thought to myself, what's been designed for people to sit in and be comfortable for, I don't know, several hours at a time. And immediately I thought of airplane seats. I went on eBay, typed in airplane seats. And I think the first five that came up were ejector seats, which wouldn't quite fit with what I was trying to do. But then I saw these, and apparently they come from Airbus A320, from a Japanese airline that went bust. So I thought, oh, that's a good luck sign. So yeah, I bought a couple of these. And they actually work really well. So I've got my laptop and I've got my camera and I've got my setup all in front of me on the trays. But yeah, this is my working setup. I'm trying to start a revolution.
That's amazing, amazing. Is it a two-seater, three-seater, a four-seater?
Oh, I could have got a three-seater, but this was difficult enough to get past my wife. So
Right.
two-seater it is for now.
That's very good, though. Very good. Do you ever sit there, the two of you, side by side, have dinner on it?
No, that's a good idea actually. But no, what I do have, I've got a projector above my head and a screen in front of me. So my two boys will come and sit in here with some popcorn and watch a film. It's like having cinema seats.
That's
So yeah,
amazing.
if anyone out there wants to get something like this, I'll send you the link.
That is very good. That is very good. My brain is already thinking about what I could do with some
Possibly.
LLC. I love it. I love it. Extremely disruptive. It's just what IGEL is all about. Um, Ben, can I get your thoughts on 2020 and 2021? I mean, EUC, desktop virtualization, we've all worked in this space for a long, long time, but arguably it's still been fairly niche. It's probably made up, 12-15% of the overall desktop market. Things definitely saw a bit of a change last year. What are your thoughts on the importance and the impact of EUC moving forward?
Well, I'm going to say it. I can't not say it. I think it's the year of VDI. I think I got away with that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, this is something we've been talking about for a long time at Citrix and VMware, the ability to break that link with a specific location. For too long, I think people have been going into, huge glass boxes and then sitting at a desk and working on another box. And that's the way it's been for a long time. And there's never really been, probably over the past 20 years, there's never been a real hard reason to keep doing that other than custom and tradition and inertia and momentum. And I think what's happened with the pandemic, obviously it's an awful thing to happen, but it's accelerated change because I think one of the things we've seen is probably the world's biggest remote working POC. And at
Yeah.
the end of that, everyone's come back and said, you know what, this works. So end user computing, which is always, I mean, from my perspective and probably a lot of others, has always been seen as, the bit that people don't want to do when they get into IT. They'll do the cloud stuff, they'll do storage and networking. And end user computing has always been seen as this little thing that you start your career in, but you don't necessarily finish it in. But I think this has pushed end user computing right to the forefront. It's made it the shining star. Everything, the fact we've got through this pandemic and the majority of people have been able to work is a fantastic example of what end user computing technology can do. And I think it's come through, and now everyone can see, and hopefully that 10 to 15% penetration will start increasing. And that's what we saw at VMware. Yeah. That all of a sudden the customers we've been having conversations with, and the customers already had Horizon and Workspace ONE in place, they were ready to go. They could do this. They could seamlessly transition from working in the office to working remotely. And that's what makes end user computing such an exciting place to be. I think it's been a real boost to EUC.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, someone said to me about 6 months ago when COVID and work from home came along, there were really two types of customers: those that had a form of VDI and those that didn't. And it really was as simple as that. And it's been really interesting to see organizations who perhaps were moving away from virtual desktop or had thrown it to one side historically have now come back around and said, actually, we need to revisit this. And we need to revisit it, not just because we need to enable work from home, but also because at some point, hopefully, we will go back to a form of working in the office or hybrid working. And in my mind, those two things are not separate, right? You don't have work in the office strategy and a work from home strategy. They need to be one.
I think what I noticed as well was maybe a lot of my customers who are maybe thinking of going to fat client, having laptops, Windows 10 PCs, they realize that's not something you can do quickly. That is a very difficult project to get into place. That's a really big transformation. Taking what people have already got and maybe delivering a virtual desktop or virtual applications to it was a much, much quicker and much slicker. And it matched what users have been doing already. Yeah. It was a much simpler and straightforward proposition. So yeah, this past 12 months, I'm going to say it again, past 12 months have been the year of VDI, definitely. And I think 2021 is going to be more of the same.
Yeah. When you were at VMware, how much was moving to the cloud?
Probably 70 to 80% of everything was moving across the cloud. So all the virtual desktop workloads. I mean, obviously VMware, fantastic data center company, all about data center, and the sort of the communications over the past few years been around a hybrid strategy. And that was one of the benefits. Maybe you could have an on-premises implementation and then start to build in the cloud, and then maybe migrate all of those workloads to the cloud when you're ready. And I think that's the key part of all of this, letting organizations migrate to the cloud when they feel ready to do that. But I would say, yeah, easily 70+% of all the customers I was speaking to were talking about building those workloads in the cloud.
Yeah. Good stuff. So what are you most excited about? How's your first week at IGEL been?
Lots of onboarding, lots of learning. I've done my ICP exam though, passed that.
Congratulations.
So passed that on Wednesday. So yeah, I've got another exam to do. And it's been a few years since I've done exams, so it was quite a nice introduction to doing exams again. Okay. But yeah, it's going really well. I mean, the first things I've got to do, obviously, is speak to the rest of the team, speak to everyone else in the organisation, get an understanding of processes. But yeah, it's going really well. Everyone's been incredibly helpful.
Good. Well, we're certainly super excited to have you on board, and I know I speak for the rest of the UK team and also the IGEL team. Thank you very much for joining, and we look forward to working with you more in 2021. It's going to be good.
Brilliant.
Couple of quick ones then. What's your favourite film?
Oh, Event Horizon.
Not seen that. Okay.
Well, isn't it? Oh, that's brilliant. Sci-fi. Anything sci-fi and horror, ideally.
Okay. What about hobbies? What do you tend to do in your spare time?
When
you're not buying airplane seats.
You probably can't see. I've got a couple of guitars up there. I also bought a 3D. I bought a 3D printer for my kids last Christmas, and so I've sort of combined two different geeky hobbies here. And I've got a really badly 3D printed Starship Enterprise.
Okay, very cool.
But yeah, that's it at the moment. It's quite difficult to have a hobby, isn't it? And obviously, when I can, going to watch the greatest team in the world, Leeds United.
How did I not guess? How did I not guess? And any New Year's resolutions?
Well, it was going to be to travel more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not really working out how I planned. But then I probably should have come up with a better resolution.
Yeah, it's not looking good, at least in the short term. But we're safe. The majority are safe. We've obviously got the ability to continue working, and hopefully soon we can get back together again. That would be good. Any predictions from a technology point of view for the rest of the year? What do you think's going to be a hot topic this year?
I think everything that I've seen over the past few years, and especially over the past 12 months, has been about employee experience. I think everything, because when it comes to end user computing, we've got the delivery platforms, we've got the VDI published applications, we've got the digital workspace piece. And I think the piece that's probably been missing, and again, because EUC hasn't traditionally been seen as the shining star until recently, I've always thought it was. It's going to become employee experience, how we make sure that users get a really pure, productive experience. So that idea, excuse me, that idea of making technology as invisible as possible to end users. And I think that is going to be the big thing over the next couple of years. I mean, there's a guy I follow on LinkedIn who says that he thinks the decade of the 2020s is going to be the decade of end user computing. And I completely agree. And I think everything is going to focus on employee experience, making sure that the people in organizations can be productive, get a really pure, productive experience without technology getting in the way. So I think that's probably going to be the hot focus over the next few years.
Yeah. I mean, measuring, obviously, user experience is a hot topic in itself. We've seen a fair few investments take place over the last couple of years. And I know when you were at VMware, you would have been working with the likes of Controller. But I think what you're really referring to there is that frictionless onboarding and usage of IT, right? So very much like in the same way that, when I pop open a new pair of earpods, my phone just comes up and says, hey, do you want them to connect? And stuff just happens. And that's not always been the case, particularly in end user compute.
Well, this is it. Absolutely. I think in IT, and I've been an IT manager before. I was a really rubbish IT manager. Okay, I'm going to put that out there. I was young and foolish. But I think in IT, whenever there's a challenge, the natural response is almost to throw technology at that challenge. And I think that what we've got in EUC is the ability to say, well, you know what, we can actually take technology away from end users. We can take that, what the obstacles that they've got and trying to be productive, we can take them away and give them a really slick, and again, there's that word, pure experience, because I think it's easy in IT. And again, I've done a whole blog on this. It's easy in IT to get stuck into the plumbing, the back end stuff, the networking, the storage, the stuff that users don't care about. Our job in IT, really simply, is to get information into the hands of people. That's it. Everything else is plumbing. And the way, if we can do that in the slickest way possible, where the user doesn't even notice their technology, then I think we're doing our job. So I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, completely agree. It's 2021. Users shouldn't care that a machine needs to be updated or patched or secured or anything like that. It should be completely invisible. Exactly. Good. Ben, thank you. As I said, I just wanted to welcome you on board.
Thank you.
Get it out there on social media. I'm sure lots of people will be looking to congratulate you. How best can people follow you? You mentioned a blog earlier. I'm assuming you're on Twitter and LinkedIn.
Yeah, Twitter and LinkedIn. I'm most active on LinkedIn. I need to start retweeting stuff on Twitter, and my blog should be ready to go. It's already got a load of stuff on there. I just took it down for maintenance. Should be ready to go imminently. So yeah, follow me on LinkedIn. You'll get all the updates from that. Perfect.
Ben, welcome aboard, and here's to a great 2021 and working with you far more in the next year or so.
Brilliant. Thank you, Simon.
Cheers, Ben.